What's your name?
My name is Whipple-Lue.
Mr. Lue, as we stand here on the streets of Macon, Georgia, what is your take on Gordon or anything that you want to share with the voters in Gordon and in the state of Georgia?
I was amazed to find out that discrimination exists to the extent it does, as I find in Gordon right now. My first problem I have is they brought in a new mayor. She was elected to office. I was informed that it took her 2 months to get a charter. She took office on the 6th of January 2014, and before 3 weeks was out, on the 24th, as a matter of fact, of January, they had 4 EEOC complaints against her. But now, that's not the big part. My problem is, what complaints do they have? One, because they claim she discriminated against this policeman because the mayor spoke to a black employee.
Mm-hmm.
And I quote, if the mayor had to speak to a black employee, Sergeant Williams, why should that be a cause to bring a lawsuit against the mayor? You heard me right, yeah. Well, the next one is even a little better. Right and Right made a statement to cover their audit that they gave to the city. And part of that is, part of their comments were, the city clerk did not have the expertise to do her job properly. Well, because the mayor read that letter, that was a cause to bring a complaint against the mayor for creating a hostile environment. You heard me right. Mm-hmm. Well, that is not all. You have this man, he was not able to pass a test to do his job. You know, they all have to have a license to
certification
to do their job. This man did not have the proper certification, and because the mayor asked about it, that was enough to say that she created a hostile environment, and she was discriminating against him and against the white people. I mean, the logic of that I cannot understand. But, you know, it goes on like that. And I find if they're going in the news media, mm-hmm. as a headline news, front page news, mm-hmm. People brought claims against the mayor, discrimination claims against the mayor for these things. So what is really right and what is really wrong in this city? I'll tell you, I do not know how the mayor could stand up under this kind of pressure. But I know there's got to be a change. If they want to move ahead, they have to change the attitude and their outlook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Lue, what do you think about a sitting council member, Terry Edie, if you don't mind, bringing up charges, I guess, and maybe a lawsuit, or possibly with maybe another council member against the very council and city for which they have took an oath to serve the interests and to save money and to keep these people money secure. How do you think, what's your opinion on that?
Well, you just have a look and see who is behind these claims, who is bringing these complaints. If the truth was told,
you say if the truth is told.
If the truth was told, some of these council members should be in jail right now. And I am repeating it. If the truth was told, some of these council members should be in jail right now. Secondly, some of them, they are supporting corruption, fraud, and injustices, and there should be some investigation into these occurrences. Mm-hmm. But nobody wants to even hear about it. But you know what happened?
Well, maybe nobody wants to hear about it, but do you not agree with me that they seem to definitely be on top of the mayor and making sure that she abide by the law? Why do you think that Attorney Boone, former Attorney Boone, who have served for such a long time, could sit in place as attorney without any letter of engagement or any contract with the city? What do you think about that?
No, you understand. Wait, who is bringing these charges? These people are so comfortable using the city, bleeding the city dry, and not caring about the man who is suffering. Many of the cheap people of Gordon will wake up this morning, want to find an extra dollar in the pocket and cannot find it. The children are hungry, the rent is not paid, the electricity is not paid, and they don't care. Unemployment, 30%, they don't care. Then how can you survive? Now, every man is entitled to your certain privileges. And when your privilege is taken away from you, well, most people rebel. I am suggesting that these people in Gordon should better get their act together, or else when people get frustrated, they never can tell what they'll do. So for that, I tell you, get your act together, Gordon. Stop hiding behind a race card. Stop hiding behind corruption and do what is right. And I say to Governor Deal, you went to Whitman and you made a blunder of what will happen. Fortunately, the judge and the jury found Lulu Smart innocent of all the charges that you removed them from office. Wait. Now, I hope they do the same thing in Gordon.
With that, my beautiful brother, I guess we'll close out. It's sad that we had to come to Macon, Georgia. We had something to do down here. You called me here. And once again, before I close, why is it that you will come and talk like you're doing now to me, but as well as the mayor just did, but yet when it comes down to other TV and radio and newspapers, you all seem to be distant? Why is it that you'll come to me? What's the problem, my brother? What's going on here?
I firmly believe that the news media is not a friend of the black man. And whatever they are putting up there is because they are controlled by certain people and certain ideology. That they cannot say what is right and what is wrong. They can say what is their agenda. And they try to make their agenda the standard. Okay. I'm saying to you that what shall it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Gordon, you are on the verge of losing your soul. And what are you going to tell God?
And on that note, I'm going to add this, and I want your response. Lula Smart case, the Quitman 10+2, she finally went to court after 4 years. And after she went to court, 30 to 40 charges was dropped against her, found not guilty of all these charges. And just like the audit with Mr. Basket, no news media was there. And at Lula Smart case, 19 days of court proceedings and no news media was there. So do you see any similarities? And just maybe what you said was true. Maybe somebody got their own agenda and their own ideology. Close us out with those remarks, my brother.
Yes, well, I can say, I repeat what I said to you. Tomorrow, many of you may not see the sunrise. Some of you listening to me right now will die. And what are you going to tell God? You may be sick on your bed now. I tell you, let your conscience be your guide, because God will always remember what you did on earth. And he will always render unto you what you did. As a man sow it, that shall he also reap. And it doesn't stop there. Whatever you have done on earth here today will affect your children yet unborn. So, curses, I promise you, God is in charge and he will render unto you just what you render to others. As the man soweth, that shall he also reap.
Galatians 6 and 7, for God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man sowed, that shall he also reap.
Thank you, Jesus.
As it is written, so shall it be done.
Thank you,
That
Jesus.
was a white European apostle Paul.
Thank you.
Saul before his name was changed to the Galatians.
Thank you, Jesus.
Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press. I'm George Boston Rhymes, and I do what I do because it must be done. Under our form of government, if we just sit back, imitate, duplicate, and placate the great words that preceded us, then we will lose this republic, and our nation will go down in ruin as ancient Rome. Thank you, my beautiful brother, a black African-American man that is willing and able to stand your own ground and speak truth to power. Thank you, Baba. I will go.
Thank you. God bless.
God made mothers to be angels. You just might be looking at an angel right now. If you're in Los Angeles, California, Nashville, Tennessee, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, Chicago, heaven must be around the corner. I see angels coming down the street. Heaven can't be too far from here. I see angels everywhere. Every mother is an angel. God made it that way. If you look around you, coming down every street in every city, you'll see nothing but angels. In Washington, D.C., South Carolina, or wherever you may be, heaven must be around the corner. I see angels coming down the street. And I look over there. Heaven can't be too far from here. I see angels everywhere.
How you doing today?
Very well.
Good. What's your name?
My name's Kevin Moran.
Kevin Moran. Where are you from?
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a member of Dr. Joseph E. Lowry's Coalition for the People's Agenda. I've been coming down here for the last 4 years, familiarizing myself with this case against these 11 women and 1 man of the very apparent injustice of this matter. This has been orchestrated from the highest levels of this state. The Secretary of State has a vendetta against these upstanding citizens and is trying to suppress the African American vote, not only here in Quitman and Brooks County, but across the entire southern band of counties in Georgia. The women of the Quitman 10 were very successful in using a strategy that the Republican Party has used very successfully, of using the absentee ballot to increase participation in the process. That's what we all want in this democracy, is for participation in the process by informed voters. This has been successfully done repeatedly here in Brooks County. These women didn't win just one election. They didn't win just one primary. They have been reelected and reelected by large majorities in every case similar to the initial election. Today, at the end of the day, on a Friday, here in the courtroom,
Yes, sir.
after being here all week, our attorney, Attorney King, had the opportunity to cross-examine the star witness of the prosecution, Mr. Boone of the United States Post Office. Mr. Boone testified that he had collected the names of and written the names of individuals that mailed in an absentee ballot. This is in violation of his charge and his oath as an officer of the United States Postal Service. I don't want my postman going through my mail and recording who I'm getting mail from. I don't expect my mailman to be recording who I'm sending my Christmas cards to. This is a free country. This is the United States of America. We don't spy on each other in this country. But what he was doing doesn't hold up to the light of day. He presented a list that he swore to of 15 names that he swore put in post office collection box all at the same time. And he swore by one person. Well, very interestingly, upon cross-examination, it was shown in black and white on the return envelope for absentee ballots that one was sent in with a date of July 5th, 2010, and one on a date of July 15th. He had previously testified that every ballot that came in was immediately stamped that day by the local Quitman post office and expeditiously delivered to the registrar of voters here in Brooks County. There were 10 days between the receipt of these two envelopes that he had sworn he recorded on the same day at the same time being deposited by the same person. As the defense attorney said, that is a lie. It was proven to the jury, the judge, and all in the courtroom. These postmarked return envelopes showed the dates of July 5 and July 10, respectively. Those aren't recorded on the same day. Beyond this, that opened a can of worms that the defense attorney has exposed, that the prosecution does not have. Of those 15 ballots, they have but 2 of the originals. The other 12 are missing. They are unable to produce them. They brought out all the materials they contend that the prosecution has. Put the boxes out, let the defense attorneys go through them. That's all we have, and these documents are not in there. The original documents that he is making these salacious charges on are non-existent. The chief case agent of the G.B.R. testified that she picked up many, many boxes from the election office here in Brooks County.
Ms. Braswell.
That is correct. Ms. Braswell testified. She also testified as an agent of the G.B.R. that she turned over every bit, all of that material to the prosecution. All that's remaining today are what look to me like 3-4 small boxes of some evidence, some pieces of paper. The prosecutor is even admitting that they probably won't be able to find the originals. The judge has ordered them to produce the originals by the convening of court, on this case the next day on Tuesday. It is highly unlikely after all this. They have looked before. They will not find originals. They know they are not producible. Why do originals that are being used to tarnish the reputation and exposed to convictions of innocent people, why does that evidence suddenly totally disappear? And beyond that, the list that the registrar would have of individuals applying for these absentee ballots has disappeared. There is no record that these individuals, who the postal employee claims all mailed in their ballot on the same day, came in the same stack at the identical time, they never show on the records of having received a ballot. The ballots are dated by the post office itself 10 days apart. This is a miscarriage of justice in the state of Georgia that cannot be overlooked. The Secretary of State and the Governor have made it very purposeful that they will send the message that if you are African American and if you run for office and if you honestly win the election, you will be punished. The Governor, the Secretary of State are trying to intimidate and suppress the African American vote since they know if the 400,000 registered African Americans in the state of Georgia that did not vote in the last election cycle come out and exercise a right that people have died for, the right to vote. If the African American community and all people of color exercise their constitutional right to vote, it will mean the demise of this white privileged aristocracy here in Georgia. That is not American. That is not worthy of the state of Georgia. This prosecution is a travesty. The prosecutors, the Secretary of State, the Governor should be called out on what they have done to these women and called to publicly apologize for the 4 years that they have put them under this scrutiny and this character assassination. So that's how I feel about today.
Thank you very much. This is the Ghetto Free Press, just keeping it real. Once again, I want to appreciate you. You are a prime example, in my most humble opinion. While we cannot hate one another because of the skin color, it's not about skin color. It's about what is right and wrong. I think perhaps that Jesus put it best, and I put it in my own words. Want for your neighbor that which you want, and have for yourself and your own children. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.
Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Ryans. And what's your name once again, my beautiful brother?
George, my name is Kevin Moran.
All right. And you're with the People's Agenda.
I'm with the Coalition of the People's Agenda, convened by Dr. Joseph E. Lowry.
All right. I want to ask you a few questions. Number one, I've been here. I missed Monday because I was up there with the newly elected black Mayor Ann Whipple-Lue, who's being mistreated, and I believe it all interrelated together.
Yes.
But I got here Tuesday, and I didn't see any news media here Tuesday. I didn't see any Wednesday. I didn't see any Thursday, and I didn't see any today. I didn't even see any of the news reporters. I haven't seen anything in the Valdosta Daily Times, a metropolitan city. I only saw a little snippet in the Equipment Free Press yesterday when I got that in my mailbox because I subscribed to the paper. But the question is, how do you think that the news media like CNN, MSNBC, even with Al Sharpton, can ignore or omit what is happening here in Brooks County, where we had hundreds of people to march here because this is a very, very high-profile case? Why do you think that the news media are not concerned about voting rights down here in South Georgia? Apparently because they're not here.
The mass media that you refer to is totally owned and operated by the white aristocracy in Georgia. And it is an inconvenient truth that Equipment 10 plus 12 have been salaciously charged.
10 plus 2.
10 plus 2 with charges for crimes they did not commit, and it was proven today in court.
Okay. Another thing I want to ask you is that if you had not spoken out a little bit about what happened here today, I say that this information that took place in the courtroom outside of the transcript, which will be a matter of record for all eternity, I guess, but without that, the local citizens here in Quitman and Brooks County and all around South Georgia, they wouldn't know anything about it, because when the newspapers are written, which I call the archival record, when they read that in 30, 40 years in the schools require these students to do turn papers on the events of yesterday, they won't be able to retrieve that from the newspaper because it wasn't there.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I think that's why it is essential that this word get out. I've been fortunate 4 years ago, when you mentioned hundreds of us gathered here on the steps, to be traveling with an international representative of the Mennonite Church, who I contacted last night that this trial is still going on. He has learned the truth, and he is ashamed that the United States judicial system here in Quitman, Georgia, is lynching these 10 plus 2 for acts they never committed, and by the media intentionally, I really believe it is intentionally not being here.
Yes, sir.
It is an inconvenient truth what has been done here. For 4 years, these women and one man have been subjected to daily harangues, allegations by the G.B.R, put in jail because they won an election. They won an election to office that had previously been held by white males. And for the first time, we had African Americans of impeccable character and wonderful qualifications as educators elected to the school board. They've been elected 2 times since by the same plurality. This was not a fluke. This was not a manipulated election. This, unfortunately, for some, is the South of the future. Georgia will become a majority state of colored people. Our brothers and sisters in Christ will be represented. This is a democracy in the United States. We have fought for it. We are entitled to our rights of equality under the law. We haven't seen that here, and the media doesn't want to be telling that story because governors, heads of the G.B.R, secretaries of state will be criticizing them and exerting again power upon them. We're playing with some players that have great power and great audacity to use it. We need to stand up to them. We need to tell the truth. The truth needs to be told. And George, you are telling the truth. You are the only member of the press here today. And it's a privilege to have you here and documenting the truth.
I thank you very much, and I'm not going to, because of the flavor of my nature and what I call the nature of my flavor, I am not going to allow you to stand there by yourself. I'm going to come and shake your hand because no man in this struggle should have to stand alone. So wherever you go, I'm with you. And I'll declare before God and man that right does not have a skin color. I love you, my beautiful brother.
I love you.
And I love the flavor of your nature.
The president of SCLC, Reverend Dr. Stewart, will be here on Tuesday. I spoke with the president of the Georgia NAACP this afternoon. Francis Johnson is sending out a notification to all NAACP members to be here also.
That is power. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. God bless you, my dear. Thank you so much. Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press. I'm George Foster Rhynes, and I do what I do because I served this nation for 21 years. This is my hometown. My grandmother told me the history of this place, Brooks County. And I love Brooks County. But I love justice and equality for all men, women, and their children, regardless of whether they're Germans, Russians, Jews, or Palestinians. We are all in this struggle together, trying to build a better world. And if our forebears yesterday gave their life for us to get where we are today, then some more of us may have to sacrifice and go to an invisible cross. But in the end, I will assure you that truth, right, and justice will win in the end.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
George, E-U-R-G-E, Boston, B-O-S-T-O-N, Rhynes, R-H-Y-N-E-S.
And how do you want to be CG'd? As like a concerned citizen, or how, what do you want your title to be?
A retired military veteran and owner of the Ghetto Free Press.
All right, I'll be able to use Ghetto Free Press. All of that won't fit.
Whatever you say is fine. Whatever you say is fine. Do it your way.
All right, yes, sir. Okay, so what did you want to say?
Well, mainly I want to say that, personally, I'm sick and tired of seeing what I'm seeing here with Mary and Whipple-Lue. And the news media seems to be in cahoots with someone, maybe the governor of the state of Georgia, Nathan Deal, maybe other people who have a hand behind the hand of a man with a master plan. This master plan seems to be a plan to circumvent the black votes and the black voters in the state of Georgia and perhaps around the nation. Now, point. This incident with Mayor Whipple-Lue. I just received a call, that's why I'm here. It seems as if though this thing is unending, and it gotta end somewhere. This situation with her is all seemed to me to have stemmed from when she asked for a forensic audit. Now the people in Gordon here would believe probably that this is an isolated case with the mayor. It's obvious that she's black. You also have a case in Meigs, Georgia with Linda Harris, the black mayor. She's black. You also have a black mayor in Gibson. His name, in Lumpkin, his name is Charles Gibson. So now, not to mention Davisboro and a lot of them, but the bottom line is that there is an asserted effort to circumvent the black voters. Look, in Quitman, do you not know that there was a 19-day court hearing with the Quitman 10+2 with Lula Smart? The G.B.R. charged her with 30 to 40 counts of voter fraud. For 4 years, they finally went to court, just one of them. And she was cleared. All charges was dropped against her. We watched the G.B.R., we watched investigators from the Secretary of State's office, Brian P. Kemp, along with Glenn Archer, who I have an interest in that he ignored problems in the voting process in Brooks County. The Secretary of State ignored that. We had people that filed complaints in Brooks County, and a state person, candidate running for state representative, made complaints, and they all was ignored. I personally gave him DVDs about the problems in Brooks County. The citizens in Brooks County are still waiting back after a couple of years to get a reply back from the Secretary of State on these charges. Now, short form, why did I say all that? Because if the Secretary of State will not respond to the people in Brooks County, and if, with the video that I've sent to Eric Holder of the Department of Justice, Nathan Deal, and others about this case, about what is happening in Lumpkin, Georgia, in Meigs, Georgia, in Dawson, Georgia, Davisboro, Georgia, and many other Georgia cities to save time. And for this to go on and on and on, it just don't make sense. You have seen people disrupt council meetings here. We have seen the chief of police fail in his responsibility to assist the mayor in maintaining order and discipline according to Georgia law in these public meetings. And there are orchestrated efforts to dethrone this elected official. We even see judges now. Judges are circumventing the voters in the state of Georgia. How can a superior court judge have more power than the people? I thought they say we were a nation of laws with freedoms and rights to vote, a freedom of religion, freedom of the press, and it's obvious about freedom of the press because I said it once and I'm going to say it again. When Bill Bassett talked about this audit that the TV station, Mr. Lue, don't want to talk about. They'll talk about the mayor taking keys, but they won't talk about that gas was missing, and this is why she took the keys. They won't talk about that. But all this has been documented. And so now it seems as if though some people want to make her think that she's unintelligent, they want to think that she's unprofessional, they try to make her look silly. Now they call her she threatened someone. I'm being quiet about that, but I was only 10 feet away from that. The newspaper here, you'll see my video on that. It just don't make sense to anybody of average intelligence to see how this mayor is depicted in the Wilkinson County Post. Not even Lester Maddox, not Bull Connors, not Albert Pike, not any of the people that was a part of something that was very disgraceful in the eyes of our nation was never published with ugly pictures as we see in the Post and the arrangement of a female. Don't you know, America, that this woman have children, grandchildren, and maybe great-grandchildren? How would you feel, America, if your mother or your auntie was depicted every week in the, like this mayor is being depicted in the Wilkinson County Post. Now, if you all are asking me why am I so passionate about this, because I served this country during the Vietnam era, and I'm not going to be quiet. You can come after me, you can do what you want, but the American people and all of our military people in uniform who are in foreign countries with their life on the line had better wake up, or they better get out those uniforms, because this country is going down like ancient Rome while we sit here and tell the world that we're about freedom, justice, and equality. We are, until it comes down to the black man and woman and his children. And this is nothing new, and it's not just a figment of my imagination, because I have white right people in Atlanta. They hit me up on YouTube. They traveled down to Quitman, to the Quitman 10+2 case after 4 years. Those people came down. The G.B.R. lied under oath. They lied. And then they form that they got is just a disgrace. And the thing about it, everything that happened with the Quitman 10+2 Lula Smart, all that stuff that took place in the courtroom was top secret, because nobody knows nothing about it, because no news media was there. It seemed as if though they got their orders from somebody not to even recover that news-worthy voting case after 4 years. And I walked the streets even before it went to court. I walked the streets in Brooks County, and I interviewed people who said this. The G.B.R. intimidated people. There were people who said they would never, ever vote again. There's an 88-year-old woman in Marvin, Georgia, says she will never vote again in the United States of America. And so now I'm saying to the President of the United States, I'm saying to Eric Holder of the Justice Department, I'm saying to Al Sharpton, I'm saying to Jesse L. Jackson, I'm saying to Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam, I'm saying to W.D. Muhammad side of the house under Al-Islam, I'm saying to the Jews of Judaism, it is time now for us to stand up and let us stop doing what we are doing to these black women. And I found something out today that I didn't know about, and I'm going to add this in the mix before 6 and after 6. There are white female mayors that are catching hell on the backside of heaven, because they are those who don't want the women in power. And so the American people can sit down and ignore all of this that's going on and say, it's Mayor Lou, she done lost her mind. That woman haven't lost her mind. What done happened is the same thing that they did to Dr. King. Dr. King said, and I put this on my video a few minutes ago. Dr. King said this: the news media is no friend of certain Americans. He talked about when he went out to march, they didn't walk with him for the most part. It was only when those children started getting blown down with water hoses that the news media came in for the most part. And so I'm going to rest here, but I want you to know, and I thank you for this. I know you're not going to air much of it, but I want you to know I thank you for asking me this. Now, if it seems like I'm passionate about this, it is. I am passionate. You see, I was during the Vietnam era. When I got that order to go do whatever my commander told me to do, I had to go do it. I didn't have a choice in the matter. And for me to see what I see happening across America after President Barack Hussein Obama became president, it is indeed a reason for all black and white right people to stand up and say something. You all better stop sitting down on your backside and just willing to pick up that M16 and go out and fight for foreigners, but you won't fight for your own black women, your mothers, your fathers, your sisters, your brothers who are mayors. Do you not know that Dawson, Chris Wright was shot 5 times, left in his yard for dead for whatever reason? That man is running for mayor again. But don't nobody hardly know nothing about that, because once again, our free press need to be called into question. Any question for me, my beautiful brother?
No, man, I'm good. I think you gave me a lot to work with and a lot to cut through. I appreciate it.
Thank you. God bless you.
And also, thank you for your service.
You're welcome, man. Thank you. God bless you. Anybody else want to ask me some questions?
Mayor, what? Oh, I'm sorry.
Chase, and I've just been advised about
Reeves, P-A-M-E-L-A.
You can keep it. And oh yeah, Reeves.
Last name Reeves, R-E-A-V-E-S.
wait, excuse me, this direction. Turn around this way.
Right. Thank you, man. All right. So what did you want to say?
I want to say the attorney, boom. If he's so against the mayor, why would he want to work with her? There's no support there. Why would you want that job? You're working with the concerned citizen. All of us are concerned citizens. We are here for the upbuild of Gordon, Georgia. Not discrimination or racism. Why would you want to work with somebody and you are against that person? He resigned, but why do he want his job back? He's with the concerned citizen. That does not make any sense at all.
And you're the mayor's sister, correct?
Yes.
Excuse me, can I ask you a question? Do you think that maybe this has something to do with the audit?
Of course, yes, I think so. I know so. Who wouldn't want a clean slate coming in?
I'm not the mad black woman.
If I went into a new business and it was previously owned or mayor or preacher, anybody for that nature, wouldn't you want to know a report, a clean slate, or what the finance looked like? You can't do anything without the finance being in place. So why not an audit? It's ridiculous. Something as simple as an audit.
But one other thing, why do you think they find the worst pictures to put in the Wilkinson County Post of the mayor?
Anything to make the mayor look bad, and of course me to look bad also. They do me the same way. The worst picture, to me it just seemed like they're about chaos, not helping the people and not for the people.
All right, thank you very much. What's your name once again?
Pamela Reed.
Thank you so much. The Ghetto Free
Thank
Press.
you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
This is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhines. I'm down on the streets of Macon, Georgia, and I thought that I would do a short interview here with the Honorable Mayor Mary Ann Whipple-Lue. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, and yourself?
Great. Mayor, you don't mind if I ask you a few questions, do you?
Not at all.
Okay, what I would like to start out with asking you to get started is how do you see the city of the city of Gordon right now? How do you view the city of Gordon?
The city right now is in a ball of confusion due to the fact simply that the people, some of the people that are preventing and causing and creating chaos simply because I requested forensic audit be done to simply let the folks and all of us know where the money is.
So you are saying that when they talk about the fact that you took some keys, the fact that you are violating the Open Records Act, the fact that you removed Attorney Boone from office, the fact that you are a bad person, the fact that you don't have the best interests of the people of Gordon at hand and in your administration, you are saying that it's all centered around the audit. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Now, considering that, it seems as if though there is a vote by Councilman Edith as well as Denzel, and we don't, and as well as Smallwood, and we don't want to point fingers, but we do believe that the record will bear this out, that have been an impediment to the forward movement of Bill Basket going forward with his investigation or audit. Am I correct?
Yes, so true.
Okay. Now, once, and I'm not from Gordon, but when I look at that, what will you say to the people of Gordon? In other words, what can they do to maybe get these impediments removed so the audit can go forward, so the books can be cleared? What do you think just may resolve that?
Well, truly, first of all, I think in order to move forward, you have to get involved. The constituents or citizens of Gordon need to be proactive. They should want to know what's in the coffer, how much money has been spent, how much is yet still on hand, so that we could have an accurate account of where we are. Come out and hold us accountable as your elected officials. I've been elected as mayor, and we've elected 2 female council members. Come out and see for yourself as to what the issues and subjects are about, and therefore you will get it straight from the heart, straight from the council meeting, and not the local newspaper that's being biased.
When you say bias, what do you mean bias? When you say bias, would you say that the newspapers are biased when they say that you threaten someone, or when they say that former attorney Joseph Boone is still the mayor, the attorney, when in actuality the judge possibly never said that? If the judge never said that, why would the paper say something different from what the judge